Hello everybody, and welcome back to part 5 of box 2. And this is an interesting song. I believe this is the original version of Working in the Coal Mine. You might remember Devo's version better, I do, from Heavy Metal soundtrack. Working in the Coal Mine. But apparently Lee Dorsey did it originally, and this looks like it's an original version. It may not be, but it sure looks like it is to me. But being as dated 1981, it probably isn't. It was probably reissued at that time for, to capitalize on Devo doing a remake on Heavy Metal, because 81, come on, that's the same time Heavy Metal came out. So I'm thinking this is a reissue now that I think about it a little bit. But Ya Ya, it might have hit number 7 on the charts, but I don't recognize that song at all. I definitely know Working in the Coal Mine, but that's probably because it ties in with the heavy metal. And then I've got another copy of that in the box right behind it on a really torn up bad sleeve from Collectibles. All the great oldies are on Collectibles. If you want a copy for your jukebox, that's probably the way to get it. They even got send for a free catalog. I like the way they put that. Well, I guess the address is down here, but you'd think they would have put it up there. But anyways, Working in a Coal Mine by Lee Dorsey again. And the B-side of this one is different. Ride Your Pony. Again, not a song I recognize, but Working in a Coal Mine is the only one of his songs I probably know. And then here's a nice one. This is a nice one with probably a reissue. The Zombies with She's Not There. Hit number 2 on the charts, according to somebody's notes, back in November of 1964. But being that it's on London label with the Great Hits tag, that's what makes me think it's a reissue. If it was just London, you might think it was an original. But the Great Hits, yeah, it's a reissue, I'm pretty sure. The B-side of that, Tell Her No. Not a song I'm familiar with, but it's definitely worth having just for the A-side on that one. And then, we did some Foreigners earlier. I guess they weren't all grouped together in the box. But Long, Long Way From Home. That definitely was, if not the first, probably the second one. Cold as Ice, maybe. Cold as Ice or Long, Long Way From Home. They were the two really big hits off that first album, and either one of them could have been the first one. But I definitely like Long, Long Way From Home. That's probably one of my favorite songs off the first album. And the B-side of that's Damage Is Done, which I recognize that song really well just because I know that first album so well. I've heard it a bajillion times. And this wasn't one of my favorite songs on the album, but it grew on me. Definitely. But Long, Long Way From Home, great to have that on 45. It's just great to have that on 45. And here we got a nice little post-it. Somebody took the time to write up for us. 96 Tears, mono version from September 17th, 1966. Looks like it reached number uno on the charts, which would be number 1 for those of you non-Spanish speaking folks out there. And 96 Tears by Question Mark and the Mysterians. I actually have their first 2 albums on a CD, issued together, 2 for 1. And then I Can't Get Enough of You Baby on the B side of that one. Mono version of Well. This is probably an original. This is probably the original edition. You got a mono 2-minute song on the B side, and you've got a mono version, a top number 1 song on the A side. I would not be at all surprised if that is an original copy. Oh, and we'll give you a little shot of the label on the sleeve there. Like I said, I'm trying hard to do better on showing off logos and stuff on the sleeves, but I know I miss a few as it buy them. I've got so many of these, and we're going to hit one sooner or later if I skip by one that you want to look at. And Billy Vera and the Beaters, At This Moment. Not really sure I know that song. I definitely don't know Billy Vera and the Beaters. But the B-side of this is actually what I bought it for. A song called Peanut Butter. Again, I don't know that song, but it just sounds cool. It reminds me of Popcorn, if you remember Popcorn, the song Popcorn, which was an instrumental, a novelty song from back in the 70s. But I picked it up for Peanut Butter. and I don't remember what it sounds like, even though I'm sure I listened to it at the time that I bought it. Here's another one. Handwriting looks familiar, so a lot of these post-it notes out of this box are probably from the same original owner. Percolator by Billy Joel and the Checkmates. Never heard of them. Don't know it. It's number 10 on the chart, so if we put it on, might recognize it. I mean, it's from February of '62, so it's an older song, but I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if that's an instrumental track. And the B-side of that, Round and Round and Round and Round, which reminds me of the old Aerosmith song, Round and Round. If you're an Aerosmith fan, you know what I'm talking about. Which I thought was funny when Aerosmith did it, so maybe they got the idea from this. I mean, it was '62. Who knows? But I don't know this song. But it does remind me of Aerosmith. Now we've definitely got a novelty song here with Bobby Pickett doing the Monster Mash. Hit number 1, imagine that. It's probably one of the most well-known Halloween songs, novelty songs out there. Again, we got it noted as September of '62, so going back a few years, and it's on the London label. Quite possibly could be an original, if not, it is at least an early edition for certain. And the B-side of that is Monster Mash Party. Now, I do have a few copies of this one, and I think it usually does have Monster Mash Party on the B-side, usually. But I do have quite a number of copies of this 45. Some songs just pop up, box after box after box. You see the song pop up. If it's really popular, it doesn't really surprise me. Here's Bobby Fuller 4 doing I Bought the Law. And guess who won? It wasn't him. And it's saying that hit number 9 in February of '66. I have no idea about the accuracy of these notes, by the way. These were put on there by someone before I became the owner of this 45. I don't know if they had their facts straight, but there it is. If you're really interested, look it up. The internet's there for all of us nowadays. And Little Annie Lou, don't recognize that song, but it's clearly marked as the B-side, which you don't need to be told on this one that I Fought the Law would be the A-side, because you know that song. I mean, at least I do. And here's another nice little post-it note from somebody with some extra information on it for us. Me and you and a dog named Boo. Yeah, I had this one in my original collection. If we got to my original collection, which unfortunately I feeded it in, I do have a collection A to Z, and all my original childhood 45s got put into that collection. That collection, I believe, is 10 or 12 crates, boxes. And we'll get to those one of these days, but for now I like the randomness of doing them random. When we get to that, it'll be A songs, B songs, C songs, and I'm pretty sure I do them by song and not by artist. But anyways, getting back to the point, this is a great song. I believe it's a one-hit wonder thing. I did get a Best of Lobo CD at the flea market one day, and skipping through them, this was the only song that I recognized. Me and You and a Dog Named Boo. And the B-side of that, Walk Away From It All. Don't even remember if that was on his Best of CD or not, but good chance it wasn't. He was probably doing A-sides. That was B-side, and I don't recognize it right off. But if that's actually the value of this, it's probably went up considerably since then, I would imagine. But 1971, oh yeah, that could have been another roller rink song for me. Quite possible. And here's one that pops up a lot. I have a lot of copies of this song, but it's such a great song. And I do believe this is an original copy of it. I have a lot of copies with different labels. Capricorn Records was the original, 1975. Fooled Around and Fell in Love by Elvin Bishop. I like Elvin Bishop. I've got a lot of his other stuff. But hit number 3, I'm surprised that didn't hit number 1. April of '76. Yeah. Must have came out right at, the end of '75. It took a while to catch on, but what a great song. What a truly great song. Takes me back to the days The B-side of that, Traveling Shoes. I do believe the various copies I have do have some different B-sides on them, but I'd be surprised if this isn't the original 45 with its original B-side, Traveling Shoes. So we're going to do one more here before we wrap up this episode, and that would be Quinn the Eskimo by Manfred Mann. If you don't know it by the title, when Quinn the Eskimo gets here, everybody's going to sing along. Yeah, that's a great song. Manfred Mann and Manfred Mann's Earth Band, which were basically two different bands. He had a lot of good songs, and Quinn the Eskimo is definitely one that stands out. It says here it only reached number 10 in March of '68. But the B-side of that would be By Request, Edwin Garvey. Don't know that? Not at all. Interesting though, it's a cutout, being that it was so popular a song. I'm surprised that it was a cutout version, but who knows why or when. Alright, well that wraps it up this episode, and we'll be back continuing on with Box 2 in a few.